2, 1. This is Thursday morning, December 20th. Almost 4 a.m. You can't hear it in the background. That's a train. Boop, boop. Yeah, I'm pretty hammered. And I'm going to get away from the Chatline homos, and I want to talk about the two most important people in my life, my mother and father, who were saints. They really were. They were virgins when they married, and my dad was 26. My mom was 20. And even after my father's death due to benzene-induced leukemia, my mother never smiled or let another man, even when she was in a retirement community, never let another man try to seduce her or mess with her. She would just look at him like he was some piece of trash, which is what he was, because my mother had read the book of our people. You only have one mate. You can do the brother-in-law marriage, that's okay. You can have multiple wives, okay, I get that. But I want to talk about my parents, Wayne and Nora. My dad was so fucking cool. He knew I was a real typical kid. I was always doing problematic things and shit like that, like shooting out the street lamps, and he didn't give a rat's ass because he was born in 1905. My mother 1912, right here in this area. He knew that boys did boyish things. Didn't give a rat's ass. Even at night, he knew I used to sneak out using hooks and other things, get into the Travis Elementary School, which is now owned by St. Joseph Catholic School. And I never took anything, but when my little chums, my queer buddies that always wanted to lick my dick in my butt, Kenny Davis, Eddie Webb, when they started stealing things, I quit. Because it wasn't about stealing shit, it was about, just nighttime activity based on TV watching. It takes a thief, yada yada. My dad was so fucking cool. We always worked hard. That's how I gained equity in my first home. These Chatline homos don't get the fact that by the time I was not even 9 years old, I owned half of a 7.5 acre property and the house that sat on it because me and my father did the work. It's called equity. My dad totally understood equity. And he said, "This is your house, son. Half of it's yours when I'm gone, and the rest of it is yours." I've had to sign off on that house and that property 3 times now because my equity standing on that property is so strong that every buyer has been very leery because they know I can just come down there and go, "Get the fuck off." And they know it. They have to pay me money, and make me sign the papers and say that, okay, you own this property now. You fucking Houston homo, crackhead, loser, like the last one, Patrick Roberts, who bought for my brother. My brother had to come and beg me to sign off on them with some fancy pants, retard, computer lawyer. I only have about 8 minutes left, so I want to tell you about my mother and father. My mother, Nora, was a saint. Absolute saint. You couldn't get her riled. You couldn't. It was. I'm sorry for all you fuckers out there that your parents, or like on the chat line, weren't there or were complete loser, alcoholic, pieces of shit, crap-ola, retard, mental cases. Not my mom. You know, I grew up in a household that was completely free of any sort of religious or political or other indoctrination. Even my mom. You know, my mom used to put the family Bible out on a big, like a stand that's called a table. Fucker weighed about 30 pounds. And she knew that eventually her son, just like my dad, I was the first child I was the last child of 8. And I was the first child that my father bought an entire set of encyclopedias to be updated every year, because he knew I would read every last word. That's my dad. He knew who the bright kid in the family was. That's why my mother chose me to be the keeper of the oral tradition in my family. And told me this, actually the same story. I wouldn't even say, "Shut up, Mom, you told me that before." I wouldn't say that. I would let my mother tell me the same story over and over again, listening for any variation. Nope. There were no variations. And after other members of my family spent over $120,000 and professional genealogical studies, everything that my mother told me was true. We're Jews. We were the first to come to Texas other than the Brimers. And just, fuck y'all, you're fucking retards. Anyway, my mother kept telling me about my father's mother and her family. She would say, your daddy's grandfather was so rich, he had 3 white wives and they didn't have to work in the field, which meant he was a rich motherfucker. Yeah, and it was his 5.5 league plantation that was the economic engine that started Texas. Okay? You listen, you'll learn, you study. You know, the problem I have with most millennials is that most of you think that you can get knowledge off of Siri or Android or Alexa, and you're not. you're getting something that's written by some, or Wikipedia, you're getting something that's written by some fucking retard. Let me repeat that. You're getting something written by some retard most of the time, because I've studied everything from the Munich massacre, which I actually used to date. I did date the niece or cousin of the guy that founded Black September, Salome. Her name was Christiana Salome. I went to high school with her. And you know, she was kind of pretty, but she had that fucking camel boar bristles on her ass, and she was one messed up human being. She was really, fuck you. I know you have disappeared, Christiana, hiding behind a Christian name, Christiana Salome, you Arab Muslim fucking loser, okay? I've got less than 3 minutes left. I want to talk about my dad right now. My dad was so cool. My dad never had one of those Brokeback Mountain lover boys where he went off and went fishing for a week or so and disappeared. Didn't happen. His children were his best friends, especially me. And we went everywhere. He and I were really tight. Especially the building of the place where he went to school and dropped out in 1913. We used to go fishing. He'd get together a bunch of Bohemians, Czechs, Slovaks and Slovenes, and we would seine our pond. I can remember them all. I'm going to tell you right now, before I finish, I only got 2 minutes. This is a part of my history and a part of the incredible bravery I've had my whole life. We were seining my pond, me and my father's pond one day. We're going to put on a big fish fry for everybody in the neighborhood, which extends 20 miles. Everybody come over. You know, hundreds of pounds of fish. Hold that lead line. And all the Bohemians will yell and shit like that. And it was my job to go through the algae and the weeds and stuff like that and scare the fish out into the net, which is held by a lead line at the bottom. And I got around to about the southeast side of the pond, and all of a sudden I grabbed something and I said, "I got a fish," and I held it up, and it was like a 6-foot water moccasin. All them fucking Bohemians hit the water running like Jesus. And so my dad was screaming back, "Throw it away, throw it away." Actually, I held on to its tail that wriggled out, and until I got on shore. Then I threw the snake back into the middle of all those Bohemians, etc., shit like that. And they had never seen, actually I was like 4, almost 5 years old then. They had never seen nothing like that. They had never seen a kid grab a giant 8-pound water moccasin snake, which is lethal. and then throw it back in the pond. So that's that story.